Welcome to the MustacheAndTheBeard.com. Two gray geeks changing the world one post at a time.
Right.
My name is Louis Matos.
He is.
I am the mustache.
He is.
It's nice to see you, even though we're in isolation. Oh, we're supposed to be farther apart. I'm going to get your cooties.
Listen, if you haven't gotten them by now, you ain't never getting them.
I know, with all those kisses you give me.
I'm serious. Matter of fact.
Okay.
There you go.
And so here I am with my buddy, my partner in crime, my PIC.
Junior Figueroa here, coming to you live from Puerto Rico, where we continue to be on lockdown. Today is Sunday. That means nobody, unless it's essential services, nobody can leave the house. No one. Okay? The streets are deserted. The highways deserted. The sidewalks deserted. Puerto Ricans are in their homes, well, probably drinking beer, because, I mean, they're Puerto Rican.
It's hot.
And it's hot.
It's time for a beer, I think.
But we have learned, people, the heat is our friend. The coronavirus does not like heat. It does not like summer. The heat is our friend. Say it with me, people. The heat is our friend. The heat is our friend. Okay? We got to change our mindset. Summer's coming. That's going to give us a respite from this virus. Right? It should. They're hoping. And then we might actually be able to get ahead of this thing, because the summer the summer heat is gonna push it back. So we got to change our mindsets, people. The heat is our friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the beard has become a journalist now. All right. So
No, I'm just extremely terrified.
he's Cub reporter, and I guess that makes me the Jimmy Olsen.
The
photographer.
photojournalist.
Okay. Anyway, so we have a new video that we're going to be doing, and it's called Enter the Maelstrom.
Enter the maelstrom. Willingly.
Yes.
We're asking you to enter the maelstrom.
And this is number 1, and it's just going to be about binge watching.
Listen, guys. You're stuck at home. We're stuck at home, okay? For us, it's a little bit easier. We have such a diverse range of hobbies, right? Reading books, comic books, audio books, watching movies, watching TV shows,
Anime.
Yeah,
just
games. I listen to old-time radio. It's such a wide range of things that we have to do at home. But I understand. I'm listening to my peoples out there, and they're complaining.
I know. I'm bored.
I'm bored.
I'm bored. It's like, I'm not bored at all. I don't get it. But, listen, to each his own. I like being alone with myself.
We noticed.
Yes.
So this is our attempt to help you with this. Okay? Into the Maelstrom is, we're going to recommend binge-worthy stuff. Okay? We're actually a lucky generation in the sense that we're the first generation that can binge watch. Honestly, we're the first one. So take advantage of it. We're going to make recommendations for stuff that you could binge watch and therefore help pass the time.
Yeah, so today, it's basically, we're going to do some Netflix shows. So yeah, if you don't have Netflix, then, it'll be a different thing for you. So you might not want to watch today, but we're funny and we're interesting.
Well, today we're talking primarily Netflix. You're absolutely right. But there are other, if you have Amazon Prime, if you have Hulu, if you have Disney Plus, that there are things that you can binge watch.
Yes. All right. So this will be this segment, this video, and so we'll be getting started. So So want to get started, or
Yeah,
you
let's
have
get
something?
started.
Okay,
Now let's get started.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about was some people, the Marvel shows that are on Netflix have all been canceled.
Right.
Right. So, but they're still on Netflix.
Right.
So you have a definite amount of programs to watch, and so.
And the reason why these shows were canceled was not because they weren't any good,
Right.
or because they weren't getting the ratings. Simply the fact that Disney owns Marvel. Disney now has Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Disney will now be doing their own Marvel shows.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need Netflix anymore. They don't need a network.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to do their own thing, and they have a host of shows announced, a host of shows planned in the future. So that's why the contracts with for Daredevil and so on, that's why they were canceled.
Yes. So yeah, we're recommending shows that are canceled, but they're still on, and they might still be on for a long time,
Right.
just because Disney's going to make their own stuff. They're not going to want to take these shows and say, let's just play them.
So if we get a Daredevil show, it's going to be a whole new Daredevil show.
Now, okay, so this Daredevil show went on for 3 seasons. 13 episode seasons with Charlie Cox as Daredevil. And let me tell you, he was great.
He was great.
The action part,
and considering that he's a British actor with a British accent and spoke as a New Yorker, he was great.
Yes. Absolutely athletic, and you could believe that this guy is doing those moves. So yeah, exciting. It had Elektra in it, So of course, if you have Daredevil, you got to have Elektra. Elektra was played by Elodie Young. Beautiful lady. Mm-hmm. Also athletic, and those moves. Listen, mm-hmm. you might have stunt people doing a lot of those moves, but not all of them. Mm-hmm. Some of them they did it. Mm-hmm. All right. So and the bad guy, Kingpin, is played by Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah.
An amazing actor.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing actor. He makes it look so easy.
Yeah. So definitely, Wilson Fisk. Listen. All right. So yeah, definitely, we would recommend, and both of us would highly recommend Daredevil.
Let me tell you something. The beauty, of course, of Netflix is that when it presents a show like that, it presents all the episodes done. It's a done deal. Mm-hmm. So you can binge watch. Mm-hmm. It's made. The shows are made for binge watching.
Per season, per season. You get the 13 episodes.
So they put the Daredevil out. I had no idea what to expect, and I've been burned before. Not only with shows based on comic books, but with movies like the Daredevil himself. The movie burned me, so I was a little hesitant. So I said, okay, I'm going to check out the show. I'm going to watch one episode and see if I like it. Okay. I couldn't turn it off. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was still watching episode after episode after episode of Daredevil. Now that is a rare thing for me. Lewis will tell you I have no problem leaving something in the middle and coming back to it later. And I stayed up to watch this thing. So we recommend this. It is binge-worthy.
It's funny. Mark, my brother, loved this show. And I hadn't gotten on Netflix. But once I got on Netflix, I knew that he loved it. So I was like, it's one of his favorite characters. So I watched the first season, loved it. Then as the seasons came out, just binged through them. all 3 seasons are out. My youngest says, I haven't seen them, you know. And I was like, well, whenever you're ready, we'll watch them together. So my youngest decides one Friday night, you know, I had picked him up for the weekend, so he's with me the weekend. He starts watching one episode. This is like at 8 o'clock at night. Second episode, third episode, fourth episode, fifth episode.
Yes.
It's 1 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, I need to go to bed. And he goes, all right. So he shuts it off, right? And he's sleeping in the living room. So I go to my bedroom to sleep, and I'm up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and he's still watching Daredevil. He broke night watching Daredevil that first season, and I'm like, wow, that's what it does to you.
Yeah.
All right, so it grabs you. So we love Daredevil.
Yes.
All right, moving on
into the maelstrom.
Yes, into the maelstrom, and you stay in there. Yeah. All right, so I'm also gonna tell you Jessica Jones, which is like the most ambiguous of the Marvel characters, right? Mm-hmm. That most people haven't heard of Jessica Jones. So, Kristen Ritter is Jessica Jones. Attitude, sass, and what have you, a detective. So she's not even a superhero.
Well, the detective with super strength.
Yeah, with super strength. David Tennant.
Doctor Who fans?
Yes. Kilgrave or the Purple Man. All right, so and also an innocuous Marvel villain that they take and make into something special.
Well, Marvel has been doing that not only with on the TV shows, but with their movies also, because they were a lot. There's been some. What possessed them to make Guardians of the Galaxy? And yet, oh my God, it was the movie was fantastic.
It was a hit. It was a throwaway.
What possessed them to make an Ant-Man movie? Ant-Man, and oh my God, it's one of their best. So they have this knack,
this touch.
They have this touch for taking the what we would lesser known, say B. What we would consider B characters, and doing them first. Yeah.
Black Panther was total success.
Oh my God, $1 billion movie.
All right, so Jessica Jones, for all you women fans that like to see women in power, listen, she takes her power back because her power is taken away. And I'm talking about not the power of the physical strength, but the power of deciding determining her own future.
Her independence.
Yes. So that's taken away from her, and she claims it back. All right. And that's another 3 seasons this show ran. All right. And it's highly recommended. Loved because Kristen Ritter really shows the angst and then we get Mike Coulter, right? Luke Cage he guest stars and he is part of the show, and then he gets his own show as well. So
that's because in the comic book they eventually become a couple.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to give anything away, but I'm saying in the comic book. This is why they introduced him in Jessica Jones before he gets Luke Cage. Yeah,
and there's a lot of the characters which is great because they introduce the character in Daredevil and they use it in Punisher and they use like Rosario Dawson is in all of them. So there isn't one show of these that we're going to be recommending today except for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That one's different. But but
it's still the same universe. Yeah. It's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Because in that first season of Daredevil, they talk about what happened to New York in the
in the Avengers.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they mention Thor and Iron Man.
And so do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
they do the same discussion.
Yeah, so it is the same universe.
Yeah, as the Marvel universes. The Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, it's all together, tied together. With, little touches. So it's not like they're like that. But if you're watching, if you're a geek, it's like, oh yeah, that's for me.
Yeah,
it's a little egg.
Coulson started on Thor.
Uh-huh. All right, so that's Jessica Jones. So another high recommend. And I'm talking about like 4.5 grade geeks. All right, this is a really powerful show. I'm gonna go to Punisher next because even though that one has two seasons, it was the most closely tied to the Daredevil. Mm-hmm. All right, and
it was Karen Page.
Yeah. John Bernthal is the lead character of Punisher, and Ben Barnes is the Jigsaw, the bad guy in that.
Did you ever see a movie, The Accountant, with Ben Affleck?
No.
The interesting thing is that Ben Affleck, who was Batman in that movie, his brother is played by the guy who plays the Punisher. So in a weird alternate universe, Batman and Punisher are brothers.
Okay. Interesting. All right, so in the Punisher, it's if you know the Punisher story, they go through that, and then they show how he becomes. So this is more of a how he becomes, whereas Daredevil and Jessica Jones are not those kinds of stories. But they do flash back to let you know this is how they become, but it's not an origin story, which it's like, okay, we've had enough of those. Anything else you wanted to say about Punisher?
Except, other than that, it is extremely violent.
Yeah.
It is extremely, as you would expect with the Punisher, it is extremely violent. So those of you with children, I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm not telling you not to watch it. I'm recommending it, but just giving you a heads up. If you have kids, you may want to send them to go play video games in the other one.
Yeah. Although most of these are violent, this is ultra violent.
Yes,
this one has blood. This one is bloody.
Yeah, and somewhat sadistic. It can be. The others are violent also, and can be sadistic, but the sadism will come from the bad guy. For example, in Daredevil, the Kingpin there's a scene in the parking lot with the car. Mm-hmm. That's the bad guy. That's why we call them the bad guy, because they like that. But you get some of that from the Punisher in his show. That's why we call him an anti-hero. Mm-hmm. So just give you a heads up.
Yeah. Motivated by revenge. So
yeah, he's motivated by revenge. Ex-military. Mm-hmm. Takes no prisoners. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is.
All right. So then we have Luke Cage. Love Luke Cage as well.
Love that actor.
Mike Coulter is the actor. Now, in the first season, the major bad guy is Mahershala Ali. But his sister, is it? Alfre Woodard? Or, yeah, I think it's his sister. Alfre Woodard, or her cousin. It might be cousin. Alfre Woodard is not nice.
That's what you were searching for.
I was trying to, try to keep it PG. We always try to keep it PG, even though sometimes we slip. But yeah. So Alfre Woodard, if you're familiar with her work, she's amazing,
right? And
she's great when she's the defenseless, and she's great when she's like, get him. So she is an actress with a lot of range.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I recommend this. I think they only did 2 seasons of Luke Cage. But absolutely love this actor who plays Luke Cage. Perfect. And then if you're familiar with the comic book, there's, touches that, they show you a scene of him wearing the clothes that he wore in the 70s.
Right.
That is just like, if
well,
you
understand that Luke Cage started out, was not Marvel's first black superhero. That honor goes to the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
But he was Marvel's first black superhero to have his own comic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's a milestone character, and it was the 70s, and the feeling was still that heroes had to have costumes. So he's wearing what they're trying to compromise. They're trying to give you a street character wearing a costume. So now looking back on it, you're like, what the heck was that? Mm-hmm. But at the time,
it's the clothing of that time. Gold lame shirt.
Yeah, chains, a tiara.
But they introduce it so that the fanboys could geek out like us.
Yeah, it's an Easter egg.
And then he's not wearing the costume anymore. No. Listen, it was just one scene,
Yeah.
just to give us a woo, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But aside from that, definitely recommend of the show. Again, 13 episodes, because that's what Netflix does for their seasons. 13 episodes, phenomenal. All right. Then we'll move on to Iron Fist, played by Finn Jones. Very athletic man, all right? So they chose a really good actor for it. The problem with the Iron Fist character is that he's rich, so he's arrogant. And so a lot of people didn't like the first season of Iron Fist. All right, but you got to stick with it, especially if you know the character. And
Iron Fist isn't an easy character, because he's pretty much. If you ever watched Kung Fu, the TV show, mm-hmm. he's Kane in Kung Fu mm-hmm. in modern times. So in that sense, he's like the diametric opposite of the Punisher.
Correct.
The contrast here is the fact that he's a man of peace and a master of the martial arts. So he's always trying to talk his way out of it, while we're sitting there saying, "Will you just kick their ass? Will you get to the fighting already?"
Yeah. And if you know anything about karate, one of the first things they tell you is you don't use karate unless you absolutely positively have to. And so the first thing a karate expert would do is say, stop. Warn the person. I know karate. Yes, I don't want to fight. Yeah.
Meanwhile, us that have tuned in looking for the action, we're like, hit him! Hit him! So that's the problem with Iron Fist. And let's face it, that was the problem with Iron Fist in the comic. Which is why, in the comic, they teamed him up with Luke Cage.
Because Luke Cage was the charisma, and really, both of them had the same power.
The funny thing is that when they put rather than cancel Iron Fist and cancel Luke Cage, they put them in the same comic together. Everybody was like, "What are you talking about? This guy is you got a guy that was raised in a Shangri-La like Forbidden City in Tibet, martial artist, and you got this street guy, and you're gonna it's oil and vinegar." Mm-hmm. But you know what? It freaking worked.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked. It worked to this day. This day, Iron Fist and Luke Cage are still together.
Yes. Not only that, they had really good supporting characters. They had Jessica Henwick as Colleen Wing. And I loved Colleen Wing. Just absolute. Not only was she beautiful, you could see her kicking tail. All right.
And then Misty Knight.
Yeah, Misty Knight. Yeah, another. And they did what what you do what they did in the comic book. What with hurt, getting hurt. But we don't want to spoil that for you.
But the point that I'm making is that these two supporting characters went on in the comic. Went on to they had their own company, Nightwing Restorations.
Yep.
Misty Knight and Colleen Wing,
and
they were
heading there. They were heading there. They were going to go there.
Yeah.
If this would have lasted longer, it would have gone.
Right, exactly. That you could see. That's where this was headed. It was headed there.
Yeah.
It was headed there.
Because Rosario Dawson was also going to be included in that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, we recommend Iron Fist, but you understand that it's going to be a slow watch in the beginning, and you're going to be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Give it some time.
Then when he explodes,
yes,
which he does, when he explodes, and there's people flying all, you're like, "Yeah, thank you."
We want more of that.
We want more of that.
All right, so then we're going to talk about the Defenders. The Defenders was when they put them all together. That was only 8 episodes.
It's a small screen Avengers, basically. But they took Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Misty Knight, Colleen Wing,
Rosario Dawson again.
Put them all in one group, right? And sent them out to kick butt.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
Good. I'm glad you did that because it's like he whispers. All right. So
I'm learning.
So really great. They would have. This was.
I would like to have seen more. I could have gone for more.
Absolutely.
Right. They went for 8 episodes.
Let me explain. The bad guy was Sigourney Weaver. All right, Sigourney Weaver, and listen, and Electro. All right, so
Sigourney Weaver, our winner.
Yeah,
our Hall of Fame.
Our Hall of Fame female. Yep.
Winner, Sigourney Weaver.
She's the baddie, and then Elodie Young is Elektra, and she's used as a villain as well. So yeah, we have, even though it's only 8 episodes, it's.
No, and they're all there. I mean, they even put Stick in there. Stick was in there, and man, I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
I really enjoyed the Defenders. I really did.
Yeah, and this is before Punisher, so you would think that he'd be the one that would be coming in for season 2.
Well, if they had done a second
Correct.
Punisher, second Defenders,
yeah,
he probably would have been in there.
So they only did it 1 season, but like again, they canceled all of the Marvel shows. So,
and that's the shame of it for me, because I really enjoyed these characters,
this universe.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this, and so we're never gonna see this again. I'm not saying that we're never gonna see Daredevil again.
Because they totally intend to use Daredevil.
We're going to see Daredevil again. We're going to see Luke Cage. We're going to see all of them again, but we're not going to see this one.
Yeah.
We'll see the
and
Defenders
probably not the
again.
Same actors either.
Yeah, we're going to see the Defenders again, but not this one. And that's the shame of it, because it was really good. Really, really good.
All right, now, this is now, I want to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. All right? Because this is 8 seasons. And this is network television. Right. So you're talking about 22...
Although you can find it on Netflix.
Yes, yeah. But it's 22... This is an investment in time. Okay? Because it's not only 8 seasons, it's 22 episodes, 23, 24, depending on the season. Episodes per season. So this is, over 100 episodes. All right? So... but I loved it. I watched the first 5 seasons twice. And I haven't gone back to it, but when I go back to it, I'm going to watch it from season 1. Just because I love Clark Gregg is perfect as Coulson. I don't think...
And we got introduced to Coulson in Thor,
Uh-huh.
and then in the Avengers.
Uh-huh. So yeah, so definitely this is like the perfect character, perfect actor for Coulson. Then Ming-Na Wen. Listen, Ming-Na Wen is 1 year older than me.
She don't look it.
And she looks 10 years younger than me.
And her character.
Absolutely. I think she's gorgeous.
They established that she's Black Widow level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's the level of the Black Widow. Whoa.
And the martial arts are real. She is a martial artist. All right, so absolutely. So, and then of course, how could we forget Chloe Bennett? She's stunning young lady. You know, she's like 22. Well, she was 22 when she first started the show. So, 8 years later, so she's 30 now.
And there are eight Easter eggs that first season.
Mm-hmm.
You can look forward to them. They give you briefly. If you blink, you miss it, but they briefly show Doctor Strange.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a holographic a scene where they show holographic images of people with.
Oh, that's right. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
and one of the ones they show is Doctor Strange. So there are Easter eggs in there. It is part of the Marvel universe.
Yes. Yeah, and of course, this is a new take on the Inhumans, which
one of the things I was
loved.
upset about Avengers Endgame, right, was that last scene.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Coulson should have been there. They had that cameo of Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. Nick Fury did nothing in the entire movie except to appear voiceless. He doesn't say anything in that last scene in the Avengers movie. That the memorial scene by the lake, right? I feel that Coulson should have been standing on that porch. He should have been one of the ones standing on that porch. I was a little disappointed because it would nicely have tied in the
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
to the cinematic universe.
Yeah. Or, just have all of them there.
But see, the thing is, I could see Coulson because he was in Thor and he was in Avengers, in the first Avengers movie. So it seems to me like, he should have been there. He should have been standing there next to Nick Fury. Mm-hmm. He should have been, but he wasn't. Okay. I mean, that's my little pet peeve.
Okay. But 8 seasons. So you don't have anything to do? Watch this.
And it's worth it. It's worth it.
For us, it was worth it. So we're just recommending it. Listen, watch what you can, and then you say, or yes, keep on. I'm going to keep on. And, it's action-oriented. So, it's not boring stuff. All right? Okay, so that's it for Marvel. You want to move to DC?
Yeah.
You good with that? Okay. Yeah, we still have it.
Okay, we're in DC now.
Okay. Now, listen, from the beginning, we have loved...
Ooh. We didn't bring anything to bring.
I know.
So used to at this
point
taking a sip of something.
Of apple juice.
But
I didn't bring out the apple juice. Okay. Sorry. It's all right. Not a problem. Let's move on. We're going to do the Arrowverse is what it's called. Oh. The Arrowverse is what it's called. And it's because it's the longest. It's the first. They showed Arrow first, and this was a CW show. And let me tell you...
Which, of course, Warner owns DC.
Mm-hmm.
The same way Disney owns
Marvel.
Marvel owns DC, so that's why it's a CW show.
And let me tell you, the Arrowverse, very well curated by Greg Berlanti. Just absolutely, we love the well, I don't want to speak for you, but I love the actors.
No, if I disagree, that's say.
Yeah, I love the actors for the entire Arrowverse.
Mm-hmm.
They picked perfect people, and even the ones that weren't part of the Arrowverse and were brought into the Arrowverse, perfect casting. And you could see that Greg Berlanti decided, you know what? I'm going to make this a powerhouse. And I absolutely think he did a fantastic job. All right, so these shows are longer running because they've been, they're 22 episodes as opposed to the Marvel shows. All right? So Arrow, with Stephen Amell, Katie Cassidy, and David Ramsey, love this. They took a character that is not like the best known DC character, right? Because he's not Batman, he's not Superman, he's not Wonder Woman.
What happened for those who were fans of Smallville? They had wanted to use Batman for Smallville, but weren't allowed to. So they decided to replace Batman with Green Arrow, and you can tell that this was planned from the beginning because in the actual first episode of Smallville, the pilot episode, Lex Luthor's father's reading the newspaper, and the headline on the newspaper is about Oliver Queen's parents disappearing. This is how far back they had this in mind. So they used, in the comic books, it's Superman, Batman, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne. In Smallville, they used Green Arrow, and he became so popular that when Smallville ended, they decided to do a Green Arrow TV show, but not a spin-off of Smallville. They decided to do Green Arrow as his own TV show, calling it Arrow, and that's how we got this. Again, you're absolutely right. Green Arrow is not in the class of Superman and Batman, but they pulled it off.
Yes. Not only did they pull it off, he becomes like the superhero, the Batman. All right. All right. So, totally love this show. It went 2 seasons by itself, and then after those 2 seasons, they were like, you know what? We should do another character. And the Flash TV show, right, there was a Flash TV show earlier in the 80s. And so they're like, let's do...
They made the mistake of putting it at the same time as the Cosby Show.
The Kiss of Death.
The Kiss of Death. So, it was a good show, too.
It was good. Not only that, they used the actor for Papa.
No, and the thing is that in a lot of these shows, we're singing the praises of these shows now, and we got to understand that if you didn't have the shows that came before, they wouldn't have worked out the special effects and the visual effects. For example, nobody knew how to do the Flash prior to that original show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, think about it. Nobody knew how to do that speed streak. Nobody knew how to show him running.
Special effects.
The special effect. All that had to get worked out for that original show. Now we have a new Flash show, and it's reaping the benefits of all that was discovered before. The same thing with Smallville. If we hadn't had Lois and Clark, we would never have had Smallville. And if we didn't have Smallville, we wouldn't have Man of Steel nowadays. It's a process. So a lot of these things they're building on the shoulders of others.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's Flash was with Grant Gustin is the main actor as Flash.
God, that's such perfect casting.
It is
such perfect casting.
And you think he's a kid, right? But he's a man. But he just had that look of kid and fresh, and so yeah, I remember my middle son said, Flash, really? And I was like, I think it's perfect. And when we saw him on the screen, he's like, okay.
Yeah. He pulls it off.
Yeah.
From the first episode, he pulls it off.
Because here, you started off with Arrow, which is not a person with superpowers. All right? And then you have introduced Flash, which is a person with superpowers. And guess what? The person without superpowers holds up against,
Matter of fact, he schools.
Mm-hmm.
He schools.
He's the teacher.
He teaches the Flash how to be the Flash.
All right, so another big recommend. We love the cast. 6 seasons of the Flash and still going. All right, I'm gonna go to Supergirl because I think Supergirl is before Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Supergirl was on another network. It started off on CBS, but Greg Berlanti was doing it for CBS.
Right.
Or NBC. I'm not sure which one.
It was a network show.
Yeah. And it didn't do well for a network show, which is shocking when you think about how well Wonder Woman did.
In its time.
Uh-huh.
In its time.
So,
and Wonder Woman was CBS.
Uh-huh. No, I meant Wonder Woman the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Wonder Woman the movie were like,
$1 billion movie,
yeah.
Another one.
Yeah. So, but listen, Greg Berlanti was smart enough to say, you know what? Even though they're on 2 separate networks and 2 separate, when he saw the writing on the wall, he's like, I'm introducing Supergirl to the other.
Because it was another channel, it wasn't considered the same universe as Arrow and Flash.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, in other words, Arrow had the Arrowverse, and Supergirl was her own universe.
Thing.
Because there was the 2 separate networks, there was never going to be any crossover. Unlike Arrow and Flash, that they were, back and forth, there was never going to be that. So they made it, its own separate universe. But then this situation came up.
Surprisingly, though, Greg Berlanti was doing the CBS show.
Right. So it seemed natural to him. Let me get
them together.
Let me get around. Now, the DC Comics are notorious for their alternate universes. This is something that they had almost from the beginning. Right? They're notorious for having these alternate universes. So Berlanti just ran with it,
mm-hmm.
And said, okay, I got Supergirl in one universe, I got Arrow and Flash in the other universe. And guess what? They're going to cross over. Because why? Because I want them to. Because it's good storytelling.
And it saved Supergirl. It absolutely saved Supergirl. And I love the show. Melissa Benoist from Glee. And Grant Gustin was also in Glee. So seeing them together was like, it's kismet. It's absolutely perfect.
And it saved the show not because Supergirl was bad. But not the right people. The right people were not watching
mm-hmm.
Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
By having Supergirl cross over with Arrow and Flash, the people who were watching Arrow and Flash said, let me check out Supergirl.
Correct.
And that's what saved the show.
It still eventually went to the CW, right? Or
I think it's on the CW now.
Yeah.
It's still well, to be honest with you, I haven't watched Crisis on Infinite Earths, so I don't know what the ultimate outcome was.
But you can
prior
assume.
to that, she was still in her own universe, but she was coming back and forth. She had the ability to visit Arrow and Flash.
And every year they decided to do a crossover.
Yes. So it was, she might as well have been in the same universe as them.
All right, so totally love the show. Recommend another. Again, 22 episodes per season. You're talking about an investment in time.
And let me tell you something. That I'm one of those that did not watch Supergirl when she first came out.
Neither did I.
My daughters kept telling me, "Dad, you're missing it. Dad, you're missing it. Dad, you're missing it." So what I did was I binge watched the reruns to catch up, and I realized they're absolutely right. This show was great, but there was just something about, I don't know, Supergirl that didn't call me in the beginning.
Yeah, and I saw the first 3 episodes, and I was like, because I tried to like it. The first 3 episodes didn't grab me, but once it was part of the continuity of Greg Berlanti's world, I was like, you know what? I'll muddle through and listen. It was great. I still I would watch the whole thing all over again.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You sound like a Greg Berlanti fan.
I am.
Okay. So am I. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a question that has no answer. But I'm going to throw it out to you people as well. Greg Berlanti is a genius. Okay, a creative genius. What he has created on TV with the Arrowverse is amazing. So why don't they have him doing the DC movie universe? Okay? Why don't they have him doing the same thing in for their movies? Why do we have 5-star TV shows and 2-star movies? Can anybody answer me that?
And you're talking about Batman, Superman. How could you get that wrong?
Not that Wonder Woman was wrong.
No,
but Wonder Woman wasn't wrong, and I don't. And
that's why I didn't include it.
And Suicide Squad wasn't wrong. Well, come on.
Aquaman wasn't wrong.
Well, Aquaman wasn't wrong. Green Lantern. Green Lantern. Green Lantern.
Okay, so let's continue. So let's not get off track. All right, so Black Lightning. Oh wait, Legends of Tomorrow. Sorry, Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, this is Biggie.
Because again, Brandon Routh, Katie Lotz. They were introduced in the other shows, and then they were left to be in this show, which is Legends of Tomorrow.
This is Legends of Tomorrow. Basically, it's a junior Justice League. Okay, basically
second tier.
They did what over on Netflix they did with the Defenders. The Defenders was like a second tier Avengers. This was supposed to be like a second tier. Now the interesting thing is that they created this show from scratch. There was never a comic, a Legends of Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. They got the bright idea of taking DC Universe characters, banding them together into a team, which is basically Justice League. The thing is, they pulled it off. Mm-hmm. They pulled it off.
Because they'd already established the structure of the Greg Berlanti universe.
Yes. They had this universe to play against. They have a knack for casting. A knack for casting. The storytelling, the writing. And they're not afraid to take chances. They're not afraid to go out on a limb. Greg Berlanti is not afraid to go out. He is not complacent.
Okay. So he took season 1 minor characters from Arrow and put them in this show, and then from Flash another.
Two bad guys. He took 2 bad guys from Flash and made them heroes on this show.
Mm-hmm. So definitely, again, you don't binge watch this.
And then casting. He wanted to use the Atom. Who does he cast? A guy who played Superman. Talk about brainstorm.
Mm-hmm. Entering the Maelstrom. All right.
And how many seasons has this show been on?
4. Yeah, so Flash and Supergirl 6. No, 5, I'm sorry. Legends of Tomorrow, it's in its 5th season. I think it just ended. So we'll be getting them on Netflix, the 5th season, very shortly. Last entry into the Maelstrom. Well, at last entry into the Berlanti universe is Black Lightning. All right, and that's with Cress Williams and James Remar. All right. This one it was a little weird because the villains are from a different country, you know, and it's got mutants in it, but they can't call it mutants. So
the thing is that Black Lightning also has a lot of history
mm-hmm.
in the DC universe, in the comics. And rather than start him from the beginning,
mm-hmm.
they started him
mid.
Yeah. So there's a long. He's got kids, right? There's a long backstory
mm-hmm.
for this character. Unlike, I mean, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. They didn't do that with any of the other characters.
No.
They did that with this. A little piece of trivia, if anybody's interested. The interesting thing is that Black Lightning is to the DC universe what Luke Cage is to the Marvel universe, in the sense that Black Lightning was not their first black superhero, but their first black superhero with his own comic. And the interesting little bit of irony there is that Tony Isabella created both Luke Cage and Black Lightning.
Interesting. That is interesting. All right. So now, this is a part of separate universe, but I still want to do a recommend on Gotham. If you have not seen Gotham,
God.
Yes, this is 5 seasons of just Batman, you know, becoming, and it's not even. Well, it's David Mazouz is the actor, young actor, but you know, as it's been 5 seasons, so he's and you know when
it's gotten big.
Teenagers, you know, you see
they sprout.
So in the 5 seasons, he's become somebody that you could see as Batman. Absolutely.
You want to see Alfred kick ass?
Mm-hmm.
Watch this show.
Yeah, you want to see Commissioner Gordon before he's Commissioner Gordon?
Kick ass.
Played by Ben McKenzie?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So,
Commissioner Gordon shown the way he should have been from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And they show him, boom, 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 take the steps, you know, becoming, you know, superstar cop, investigator, you know, detective, boom, boom, boom.
And the kind of, watch him become the kind of guy who would become a partners with a Batman, who would become partners with a superhero like that.
Yeah, and then we also see villains develop as well, right? So we learn, we see Enigma absolutely become, you know, the Riddler, the Penguin.
Is it Oswald Cobblepot?
Uh-huh.
Oswald Cobblepot become the Penguin. We get to see a very young Catwoman,
mm-hmm.
very young Poison Ivy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we definitely, I would highly recommend this. Now, I'm not saying I recommend it above anything, because, listen, everything is 4.5 to 5 stars.
Yeah, and it all
except for Black Lightning. Black Lightning is a little less, you know.
It all also depends upon your personal preferences, because the shows are not the same. Just because they're based on comic books doesn't mean that they're the same. DC's Legends of Tomorrow is much more sci-fi than, say, Gotham or
time
Arrow.
travel.
Yeah, time travel. It's much more sci-fi. So it depends upon what appeals.
Yeah, you might not like it.
What appeals to you. You may prefer something urban and gritty. Arrow, Gotham, even Black Lightning. But if you prefer something more out there, more more
larger universe,
more cosmic,
yeah,
than Legends of Tomorrow
and Supergirl.
Supergirl, yeah, definitely. It all depends upon your point of view. What we're trying to present to you is stuff that's binge worthy and that has enough time, enough episodes that to do a binge. Like I was just sharing with Lewis before, I would recommend The Mandalorian for anybody to binge. But the problem is, it's what, 10 episodes?
It's 8 episodes.
8 episodes, half-hour episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can binge, but I'm not giving you anything that's going to occupy you for very long.
No, for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ashley Garcia, the expanding universe of Ashley Garcia. We talking about that, but today is just about superheroes. Next week we'll be talking about something else, probably sci-fi or horror.
We were hoping to touch upon all the genres.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff out there and old shows that you can catch on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, that have more than one season. 22, 23 episodes a season. That works as a binge.
It's gonna take up,
some
hours of time.
Because what we're asking you to step into the maelstrom. That maelstrom should eat up some time. That's what we're trying to give you. Stuff that you can watch to eat up some time.
See you, Dorothy.
Exactly. Bye. Bye, Toto.
All right. So definitely wanted to cover that. I think we've covered it sufficiently well. You could let us know if we did or not. You'd have to comment, though. Push a like.
Send a few words.
Yeah. So I just want to say... Oh, no, we don't do the music anymore. My name is Louis Matos. I am the mustache.
My name is Junior Figueroa, and I is the beard.
Okay, so for themustacheandthebeard.com, I want to say thanks for listening.
Hasta la vista.
See you later.
Bye. Peace.